Hello, I'm your superhero critic, and I'll stay super as long as you stay awesome. And I apologize for the lack of reviews this year. I have just been so busy doing two jobs at once, and I just have not had the mental or physical will, I guess you would call it, to do more than a couple videos a month. So bear with me as life takes its toll once again. That being said, let's start our 2025 Batman with the sequel that we didn't expect to ever get with the Joker 2. You would think after the massive success of the 2019 Joker film, Joker 2 would be successful, but nope. Last year it was one of the most hated films by audiences, despite it bringing in Lady Gaga to play Harley Quinn. It was produced, directed, written by Todd Phillips, with Scott Silver also co-writing again. This sequel would become a courthouse trial drama with a splash of jukebox musical, and where we await Arthur's trial while he meets Harley Quinn falling head over heels. I feel like that's the ending I already said. So, without further ado, let's take a look at Joker 2. I'm not saying the French title because I don't know how to pronounce it. The movie starts in the weirdest way possible with a freaking cartoon in the style of Tex Avery or Looney Tunes, complete with the Looney Tunes intro theme. The cartoon basically has Joker going to the TV show that he went to in the first film while constantly fighting his shadow until he's beaten up and arrested. I don't know if this cartoon is supposed to reference wrestling with his past, but to be honest, the cartoon's the best part about this entire film, and it's something that is completely out of left field and never even mentioned. I don't know why the cartoon exists, but here we are. The movie begins with the inmates being rounded up by the guards while Arthur Fleck is walked to take his pills in a massive continuous one-shot, before given a shave and forced to walk in the rain to the other ward. He passes by a singing class, and we see Lady Gaga's redemption of Harley Quinn named Lee. I hate this representation of Harley Quinn. It is insulting to the original character. She is shown as this manipulator and all the things that the Joker is supposed to be the one representing. But by the end of the movie, you find out that he's the one that's using him and all this other shit. Like, they're trying to twist the toxic relationship around and is insulting to honestly both characters. And I just cannot, I am a huge fan of Lady Gaga, and I cannot get behind this representation of the character. It's terrible. So she is not Harley to me. I have hiccups. Let's keep going with this movie. The cops are typical cops as Arthur's lawyer is trying to help him create an alibi for his crimes from the first film. But he really has no responses for her, but she is dedicated to proving an insane plea or multiple personality disorder. Arthur then gets told he's being put into that classroom for good behavior, which makes him actually smile again. I am so bored! The next day, Arthur is brought to the class and he meets Lee and starts to get to know her better. We learn that she was admitted by her mother and has an abusive life, with the two of them bonding over their mutual traumas. Harvey Dent is then on the TV saying he knows that Arthur is not insane, and we go to our first musical number where Arthur sings about how happy he is now that he finally has someone in his life. Okay, I will say one thing that the musical numbers are great in their own essence, but when you compare them to what they're supposed to represent in the movie, it's just so bad. I get that they're supposed to represent his inner psyche, and that's supposed to take away from the movie, but at the same time, it's just one of those "what are we doing here" type of situations. Like, what are we doing? This movie is terrible. I love the musical numbers, but they're just not cohesive with the story. They're out of nowhere and they don't make any logical sense. After the song, we see a creepy inmate staring at Flex. We then go to an inmate movie night where they show a way better movie, The Bandwagon. Can we please watch that instead? But no, Lee then gets bored, decides to set a fire in the room, causing everyone to run out as they kiss in front of everybody. Why haven't we kissed in front of a fire?
Because someone says that I can't solve all of my problems with fire.
Good point. The two run out but quickly try to escape the hospital, with Gaga singing and them dancing, trying to climb the gate. This small act, however, puts Arthur in jail where he dreams of his Joker persona dressed up and dancing with Gaga in front of a massive moon. Somehow Lee gets inside of his cell and she tells him she's being released, that she wants to do whatever she can to be with him, including helping him re-find his inner clown by face painting him. And then they fuck! Congratulations, you just thought of the Joker having sex. To his lawyer, who advises him to go on a TV interview and tries to harass her. The interviewer just wants to get to know what was going on through Arthur's mind during the TV appearance, but also just insults him and belittles him. Arthur eventually goes into another song number when they bring up Harley, declaring his love in song to Harley.
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
Arthur is then transferred as he sees his massive fan base cheering him on as his trial begins. The doctor believes he's actually sane while his own lawyer brings up his trauma and abuse, but no matter how they want to build a defense, it's clear that no one believes that Arthur is actually insane. The lawyer tries to show Arthur that Lee is lying to him about everything, and we go to another song in Arthur's mind where we can see his mentality is clearly beginning to question his relationship. He questions her when she comes to visit, which she then admits was a plan to meet him, and she claims that she's pregnant. Right. Now she's pretending to be pregnant just to gaslight him even more. Why are we supposed to like these characters? This is not Harley Quinn! The next day of the trial, Arthur's neighbors question about the day that he broke into her home, and he learns that his mom might have made up the entire story in order to keep him happy. We then get yet another mental song where Joker finally lets loose and kills a lot of people in the courtroom as Harley dances around. I will give the movie one thing. This specific musical number and scene is done really well, and is personally my favorite out of all the musical numbers and scenes. Doesn't make the movie any better. Arthur finally says enough is enough and fires his lawyer in order to extend the trial, and he sexually assaults her on television. A news montage happens that talks about how no one actually cares about Arthur and that only what he can represent before a riot at the asylum starts, to Arthur's delight. The next trial starts, yet they let him do the trial in his Joker makeup, which makes no sense whatsoever, as the next witness is Gary Puddles. The guy he chose not to kill in the first film because he was nice to Arthur, and because of his testimony showing Arthur a little emotional damage, and that someone actually understand what he was going through, and both sides rest their cases.
That's all, folks.
Porky Pig, you are not. Knock it off. Court recesses and the next song plays as Arthur's mind goes from the two of them getting married to a jazz performance complete with the Joker tap dancing, which then adds nothing to the film. The guards then beat the crap out of Arthur because of how he called them out in court, manhandling him and throwing him in a cell. We then finally see Lee's face-painted persona. One of the things I really, again, don't like about this Harley personification, why does every iteration make her less and less of a clown? The entire point of her was to start as a Joker clone. Now she's barely a wannabe juggalo. Arthur then breaks down and finally accepts that there is no Joker, openly admitting to all of his crimes, causing Lee and his fan base to start leaving and turning their back on him. Lee then starts ignoring his calls, showing that she never actually cared about him. However, during the final verdict, he has a laughing fit, causing her to get attacked right
Slap that bass, use it like a tonic. Slap that bass, keep the milk harmonic. Zoom, 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 and the milk and honey. Oh no, today you can see that the happiest man. All got rhythm. Slap that bass, keep your milk harmonic. Slap that bass.
Got to, yeah.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that is just truly love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Why are you even attacking me? She's gone. Go after her. Go after her.
And leave your lives, they can more than likely warn her? I don't think so.
You really act like I give a goddamn fuck about what's going on. I don't even know the whole story of why she's even here.
You expect me to just believe that you don't care about her in any way, shape, or form?
Well, seeing as I just met the puppy girl, I have no idea what the fuck is going on!
Well, it won't matter, because once I'm finished with you, I'm gonna go collect my bounty.
Well, you won't have to look that far, because I'm right here.